Hi everyone and welcome back to the Crafty Yellow Camper, and today I've got a packaging project for you. This is just a little box using the Beary Cute paper and some Night of Navy cardstock, and it holds a chocolate orange. So in the UK, chocolate orange is a popular festive treat. In fact, Dawn French actually did an advert years ago, some of you might be old enough to remember, where the punchline was, "It's not Terry's, it's mine," because it's a Terry's chocolate orange. Anyway, so chocolate orange, popular festive treat in the UK. I'm sure it probably is elsewhere as well if you can get it. And I just wanted to make a box to hold it. It's quite an inexpensive little chocolate gift. If you've got somebody you just want a little token gift for, then you can pick a chocolate orange up for slightly under £2 and just making the box for it just elevates it and makes it a little bit more of a nice gift. We made these in my last class of the year, and I gifted all the ladies a chocolate orange to go in it as a little thank you for their support and custom throughout the year. Okay, so let's get started. So the first thing you need is 2 sheets of A4 cardstock. If you're using letter size, if you're not in the UK, I'm sure it'll cut down the same. And you need to cut that down so you have 2 pieces that are 18 by 17. Now the cardstock is more than 18 wide, so I've cut my 17 first, and then I'm going to cut down my 18. And these little bits and pieces you have, they're always handy to keep for backing sentiments and things like that. Okay, so I'm just juggling pieces of cardstock here to make sure I've got 2 that are the same size. Yes, so just going to put those other pieces to one side because we're going to need at least 1 piece of that scrap cardstock to make the lid. Okay, so basically, when you're making a box to package up something like this, the rule of thumb is to add on a centimetre to make the tab to close the box. Now that's if you can get it out of 1 sheet of cardstock. Because my cardstock isn't wide enough or long enough to do this out of 1 sheet, I need 2 1 centimetre tabs. The box itself is 8 centimetres on each side. So what we need to do now is make sure we have the 17 centimetre. What am I doing? The 17 centimetre side. I keep putting the scrap away, hanging on to the scrap and putting the proper bits away. Goodness me. Right, so that's 18 by 17. Those bits of scrap. And this one is 17, and we just need to trim this down to 18. That's what happens when you have bits of cardstock on your desk, guys. Take it away, clear it up. Right, so we need the 17 centimetre side uppermost. Because there's only a centimetre difference, it's really difficult to tell. So measure and make sure you've got the right side, because we're going to measure once, measure twice, cut once. Okay, so what we need to do on this is we need to score at 1 centimetre down the length, and then we need to score at 9 centimetres. Now in my class, some of my ladies got in a little bit of a muddle and they managed to turn the cardstock. So they actually ended up with a rectangular box, not a square one. So just make sure that you've measured the right side. So again, this is our 17 centimetre side, and I'm going to score that at 1 centimetre, and then again at 9. So that then gives us our two panels of 8 centimetres, and we've got 4 of those to make our box. Then what we're going to do is rotate the cardstock. So we're now working on our 18 centimetre side, and we are going to score this at, what are we going to score it at, Julia? 8 centimetres from one edge. Doesn't matter which edge, as long as it's from one edge. Okay, so we're scoring that at 8, and then we're going to turn this one round and we're going to do that as well. And this is basically going to make the bottom of the box. So this is the top of the box and this is going to be the bottom of the box. Right, I'm just done with my trimmer at the moment for that, so I'm just going to put that out of the way. And then what I'm going to do is bring in my bone folder and I'm going to burnish all those folds. It does make a difference if you give them a good burnish when you come to assemble your project. Okay, I'm going to burnish all those creases that we've just made. Okay, so that's our box components for the time being. Now we need to do some cutting. So we need to make sure that we're cutting the right section. So the smaller section, the 8 centimeters, that is going to make the bottom of our box. So I'm going to bring in my snips. It is a bit more obvious now that you've got the taller section there and the smaller section here. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to use my snips and I'm just going to cut up. I'm going to do the same on both pieces of card. Now you could cut this on your trimmer. I just prefer to use scissors. But you could quite easily put it back in and trim it off. And we're just taking that little section out of there. This is going to be our flap. So I'm going to do the same thing on the other piece. So I'm just making sure that we've got our 8 centimeter section at the bottom, which we have. Because if you cut up the wrong side, your box won't be tall enough to take your chocolate orange or whatever else. I mean, you don't have to put a chocolate orange in it, obviously. You could fill it with some other form of confectionery. As I said, I'm just using those score lines. And we've just taken those 2 little sections out there. And I just realised I haven't made a very neat job there. This is why I like scissors, because I can go back and neaten it up. Okay. And then what we're going to do, we're just going to notch this tab. So we're just going to cut down from the score line here, diagonally. And that just gives a neater finish when you put your box together. Okay, we're doing that top and bottom on both of the tabs. And if you cut from the score line, then you shouldn't cut too far. Okay, so I'm just going to get rid of those little pieces so we don't need those. So you now should have something that looks like this. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we're going to join these 2 sections together. Now I've found, make sure you've got it the right way round, because there is a right and a wrong side. Now I found the easiest way to do this is to fold over that tab, and I'm just going to use a little piece of tear tape. You can use whichever adhesive you prefer. Okay, so that's my tear and tape on there. I'm just going to peel the backing off on there, and I find that easier to do with the blade of my scissors usually. There we go. Okay, now there's a little bit, I don't know if you can see that, that's sticking over the edge, so we can just fold that under. And then I found the easiest thing to do, because we need to line this up, is to lay it flat with that tab folded down like that. Line up your score lines and line up the top of your box. Make sure they're in line, and then literally, she says, just fold over the tab. That's it, making sure it's all lined up. Fold over the tab like that. Okay. Right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to decorate our box. So I'm bringing back in the trimmer, and we're going to cut ourselves some papers. Now I've chosen slightly different papers for this one. I've chosen the trees. On this one I used the polar bears on the ice floes, which is really nice. Now obviously we've now got our box dimensions. I'm going to give you the dimensions, but if you make something like this, the easiest way to work it out is to measure the sides you've got. We know they're 8 centimeters by 10 centimeters, and if you take off 1/2 centimeter all the way round, you'll have a nice balanced layer to go on there. So what we need to do is cut our cardstock. So this is a piece of the Beary Cute cardstock. Could use either side. And we need to cut that down to 10 centimetres because that's, no, 9.5 centimetres because that's, our box is at 10 centimetres. Okay, so I'm just going to cut that down there. And keep these pieces here because they'll be great for tags to go with the box. Okay, so we know that our pieces are 8 centimetres wide across our box, so we need to cut them down to 7.5. So we need 4 pieces. And if you want your pattern to match, lay them out as you cut them so that you get them in the right place on the box. Okay. This is our last piece. We just need to cut this down to 7.5. Just take a sliver off there. Okay. Right. Just going to move my trimmer out of the way. And now it's easier to glue them onto the box. I'm just going to place those on, and you can see then that the pattern matches up. So if you're using a pattern that isn't directional, like for instance the snowflakes that I've got on the top of this box here, then you can, doesn't matter, you can do them in whichever order you like. But if you're using a patterned piece of paper like this where you want your pattern to match up, cutting them in order is the easiest way to do it. And as you can see, it matches up. So we've got the big polar bear and then the ice floe and the polar bear's nose. Okay, now I'm going to stick those on with wet glue. She says throwing it on the floor, just purely because I find that easier than tear and tape, because wet glue gives you a little bit of wiggle room. Okay, so got a glue bogey on the end there. I have gone through so much Tombow in the last week or so. Goodness me, this one doesn't want to come out, does it? All right, let's try another one. Put that one upside down for a little bit. I think I might actually have to get a new one out. Yep, that one's had it as well, I think. I really need to learn how to edit my videos, because you don't really need to watch me sticking 4 pieces of paper on, and it would be really nice to work out how to do that. That's one of my challenges over Christmas, is to try and work out how I can edit my videos so that I can take out the boring bits and the mess ups. So I've been told that iMovie is easy to do. I tend to video my YouTube tutorials on my phone. I don't know how easy iMovies is to use on your phone. As I said, that's my challenge to myself for over the Christmas break, is to try and work out how to do that. So you just want to line up your pieces so the pattern matches. I've got our last one here. I wonder how many of you are anything like me and leave your glue bottles stood upside down just to make sure that you squeeze the last little drop out of them. I've got them perched upside down all over my desk. Okay, so right, there we go. Oh no, you don't do that. Be careful with wet glue that it doesn't skid like that. Okay, right, so that's our 4 pieces on our box, and we're ready to put our box together now. Now, that overhang of tape is really driving me nuts there, because it is sticking, and I don't want my chocolate orange not to come out of the box. Okay, so I've found the easiest way to put the box together is to lay it with your pattern side down. So this is the inside of the box, with the 4 sections, and fold in the 2 outside sections. Now we need to put some tape or some glue on here, and I'm going to go for some glue this time. Okay, a narrow tear and tape or a narrow red liner tape is the best way. But if you fold it as I've just shown you, and then put your adhesive onto that tab while it's flat like this, then all you've got to do is fold that side over and give it a press to make sure it sticks. I've watched all sorts of videos where people have got things sort of balanced in the air, and I'm very envious of them because I can never do it like that. Okay, so, and then I'm just going to fold it back that way just to make sure it's firmly stuck. I'm hoping that we didn't have too much glue squeeze out there. Okay, so now we've got our cube, and we need to deal with the bottom pieces. Now, if you've cut your paper in the right direction, as per my instructions, so scoring along the 17cm side and then scoring up from the bottom by 8cm, you should have equal tabs. Now, the neatest way is to fold the two opposite sides in, fold one of the remaining sides down, add some adhesive to this section here, so you don't need a ton of adhesive on all the other sides. Add some to that section there, and then just literally fold that last one in. And if you turn it upside down, this is where the glue bottles, the stubby end of the glue bottle, you can get that in there and give that a bit of a press. And I can see my cat's been on my table because my glue's covered in fluff. Thank you, Bella. Okay, so that's the basis of our box. Now we need to do the lid, and I'm going to come back to one of these scrap pieces that we had left from earlier. Now, the box is 8cm by 8cm because it's a cube. So to make the lid, the top of the box needs to be 8cm, and I want 2cm on each side of the box. So 2cm all the way round to make this lid, this edge of the lid, which means we need a piece of cardstock that's very slightly bigger. So we need something that's 12.2 by 12.2. So I'm just checking to see if I've got enough on here. Yes, I have. So this is one of the pieces that was left over. And the reason I'm going for 12.2 is just to give us a tiny little bit of wiggle room to get that lid on so it doesn't pull the box in too much. Okay, so that's our 12.2 by 12.2 piece. And then what we're going to do is we're going to score all the way around the edge of that at 2cm. So I'm moving my cutting blade out of the way, and we're going to score around all four edges. So the general rule of thumb when you're making a box is measure the thing you've got. I'd like to draw it out so that I can see my measurements. And then the lid, obviously measure the size of the top of the lid you need, and then add on all the way around the extra pieces you need. Okay, so you can see here, this is our top of our box, and this is a 2cm increment all the way around. And because we've cut this at 12.2, it will just give us a little bit of wiggle room to get that lid on. And then what we're going to do, we're just going to cut down the scores on two sides, not all four, because if you cut at all four, you'll take the corners out. Okay. And then I'm going to get my bone folder and give all those sides a burnish so we get a nice crisp edge. Probably should burnish it before, really. It's just habit. Okay. Okay. So basically, there we have our lid, and these tabs just fold in like that. Now you can leave them square, or you can trim them down a little bit, notch them a little bit like we did on the flaps to join the box together. I'm probably going to leave mine square just to give it a little bit more stability. Okay, so I'm just going to bring in a tiny piece of tear and tape on each corner of this, and you literally only do need a small piece. I mean, if you feel more comfortable using something like Seal Plus, then use that. I always have a little bit of trouble with that. Our old snail, I never had a trouble getting that to run, but the Seal Plus, for some reason, I always have a little bit of an issue with. Okay, so I'm just going to take the tops off those. Hopefully I haven't sent too many of you to sleep along the way. Okay, oops, that one doesn't want to come off. There's always one, isn't there? It's the same with red liner tape. There's always one that doesn't want to come off. There we go. Right, and then all I'm going to do is fold in those tabs. So if you've got any hanging over bits, just tuck them out of the way. So I'm just folding in those tabs into the corners there, like that. Now, unfortunately, the piece of cardstock that we've got left isn't big enough to go in the middle of that box. But what I could do, if I wanted to, is just trim out a section here to do that. But I'll probably grab another piece of cardstock to go on the top there. So just to give you the measurement for that, as I said, our box is a cube, so it's 8.2 by 8.2. So if you were to cut a piece at 7.5 or 7.7, that would fit perfectly on the top there. But what I wanted to do was show you how I managed to put the ribbon on the lid, because some of my ladies in my class had a little bit of trouble getting it to stay put, and this is the trick that I use. So I'm bringing in some glue dots, just our mini glue dots, and I've got this gorgeous ribbon here. I think this might actually be retired, but I'm not sure. But obviously we have got some other, I mean the velvet ribbon, the sparkly velvet ribbon would be beautiful, and so would this. A lot of the Christmas items now, unfortunately, are sold out because the autumn winter catalogue will finish at the end of December. So there are some things that are already sold out that I know aren't going to come back into, well, that nothing is going to come back into stock. There are a few things left, and I think there might be the Winter Meadow papers left. There was some left last time I looked, but I'm not sure now. Right, now, I find it easier to pick the glue dots off with my pokey tool, but you do whatever's easier for you. And then I'm going to put a glue dot in the middle. And I found it easier to put the lid on the box to do this. So what I've done is I've put a glue dot in the middle of one of the sides, one of the 4 sides. And I've folded my ribbon in half. I've just literally rolled it round the box to work out roughly the right size. So I've folded it in half, and I'm going to attach that there with the glue dot. This also saves you having to put double-sided tape all the way around the edge of your lid as well. Right, so I'm now going in after another glue dot, and I'm going to do exactly the same on all 4 sides. So I'm just taking that ribbon round and attaching it to the glue dot. So that's 3 sides done. Going for side number, sorry, 2 sides done. This is side number 3. I also found this was easier to get it level with the box as well. Okay, so on the final side, we've got that little crossover there. So those of you that are going, but there's a bow on the other box. There is a bow on the other box, but I tied it separately. Just purely because it's easier. Trying to tie bows on things when they're laying down and they're boxes, it's really awkward. So what I did was I put another glue dot in the middle, and I brought over one side of my ribbon and then added another glue dot. Can imagine in my last 2 classes of the year it was glue dot central. Okay, pop that one over there. Now what you can do is trim your ribbon down just so you get a neat edge. Okay, that's that there. Just going to trim that down. And then what I did was I tied a bow separately. So just get a bit more of that gorgeous ribbon, and we're doing the bunny ears technique. So you want 2 loops. So 1 loop 2 loops, and you literally tie them in a knot. And then you can fiddle about with it to get your bow nice and level. Okay, there we go. That's our little bow. Just going to trim that off there. And then one more glue dot. Trying not to stab myself. One more glue dot in the middle there, and then we can add our bow. And then apart from decorating the top, which I'll do with a scrap of paper, there we go. So there's our little chocolate orange box. Okay, I hope you found the tutorial easy to follow, and I hope you'll have a go at making it yourself. They make really great table presents for Christmas Day. We have a bit of a tradition in my family where we do have crackers, but we also have a little table gift for everyone to take home. So they make really good gifts for that. And as I said before, if you want to give somebody a token gift, just add in that little piece of nice packaging to it. Gives it a little bit more of something than just handing over a chocolate orange. Okay, I hope you found that easy to follow, and I look forward to seeing it. If you give it a go, please feel free to post a picture, because I'd love to see what you've done. That's it from me for today. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all again soon. Happy stamping!